Here's a picture of my family when I was 4 years old, the cute little guy on the bottom here. And this was taken in Poland shortly before we left for Canada. My parents were very much unhappy with the communist government there. My dad, who was working as a controller in the coal industry, said the entire communist system is built on lies and deceit, and we got to get you out of here as soon as we can. So he left with his 4 children to bring us to a country where we have freedom and opportunity. And he worked super hard, even in a bakery at night, so he could feed his family, and he could work year-round, and his English was quite poor, so he had a job that was physically very demanding. My mom worked her way up in the Sears Steno Pool, from the Sears Steno Pool to become a bilingual legal secretary. And one time she went on a winter vacation with her grandmother or with her mother, and the other secretary said, "How can you afford a winter vacation?" And my mom said, "Well, how much do you spend on lunch today?" And they said $3. And she said, "Well, how much is that per week?" And they said, "Well, 15. How much is that per month?" "Well, $60. And per year?" "Oh, yeah, I guess about over $600. So she said, "Well, I went to Florida with my mom with my lunch money because I brought my lunch." And so she taught us frugality, and she taught us creativity and resourcefulness. Now, while we were still in Poland, my grandmother is shown here. I asked her once when she came to Canada, where she came to live with us near the end of her life, I said, "What did you do when Dad was at work, Mom was at home?" And she said, "Well, I stood in the lineups." I said, "What do you mean lineups? Canada doesn't have lineups. It didn't have lineups in the early 70s. Canada did not, at least unless it was a sporting event or a rock concert or something like that. But Poland did, and lineups are coming back to Canada." She said, "I stood in lineups because although we had bread and we had milk, but if there was oranges or fancy foods, there would be lineups." So the entire communist system, where the incentive to work is gone, is systematically removed, and regulations choke private enterprise, is something that devastated Poland. It was the communist atheistic system is disaster to any nation. It makes North Korea a mess where South Korea is prosperous. So we left that background to come to Canada. My parents worked super hard, and that's really the basis for my study on finances. And my dad used to say, the most important thing, money makes the world go round. My mom said, no, actually, God makes the world go round. This fusing of finances and faith is in my background, in my spiritual and financial DNA. That's why I wanted to study the book of Proverbs so intensely, to find out what does God really have to say about money, and who really is the boss, and how do we make money our slave rather than our master, and how do we do that successfully with the least amount of pain.